up, guys? It's your boy, Barca Boy 103. Today we're going to be reacting to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours, where there are a lot of topics, and big topics may I add, to discuss. Firstly, a new pivot target list has been leaked by the media, where Barcelona have compiled their top 3 pivot options in Zubimend, Bruno Guimarães, and Ederon of Atalanta. There's also reports of Wieffer from Feyenoord as well. We have the links to Moscardo and other pivots, as well as Barcelona begin to narrow down their options and also begin to target some of them in terms of their agents and begin talks. We also have some reports on the fees for Cancelo and Felix this summer and how much Barcelona will have to spend, around 100 million euros to sign them both permanently. We have some links about wingers as well, the likes of Nico Williams, Estevão Willian, also known as Messinho, Savinho. We have some updates on Vitor Roque joining in January as well. And finally, Operation Renewal has begun at Barcelona, where Deco is planning some big renewals in the year 2024, prioritizing the renewal of Pedri, Araujo, Gavi, and most importantly, Frenkie de Jong. And we also have some decision renewals as well in regards to Inigo, Martinez, Ilkay, Gundogan, Sergi, Roberto, and Marcus Alonso. But before we get into it, make sure you guys smash that like button down below. Let's try to get the 200 likes in this video. Be very much appreciated. And also, if you're new, make sure you subscribe down below if you haven't already, and let's get into it. Let's start off with the transfer news over the past 48 hours. Now, we're first going to be discussing the new targets that have emerged in the pivot position. Over the past 48 hours, you had a whole host of new names, similar names coming up again as Barcelona continue to narrow down their targets in the pivot position. Now, firstly, from Mundo Deportivo, Roberto has come out saying that Barcelona are working on 3 names for the pivot position: Martin Zubimend of Real Sociedad, Bruno Guimarães of Newcastle United, and Ederon of Atalanta. 3 different profiles, but all of them already have enough experience and projection to be able to reinforce Barcelona's midfield. Now, we've talked a lot about Bruno Guimarães and Zubimend on the channel. Ederon is a new name that we haven't heard of before. He's a very, very good player. I would say Ederson's on the same development plan, you could say, as Zubimend. He's kind of in his early 20s, you know, implementing himself well at Atalanta, regular starter for them, 24 years old. Again, for me, for the millionth time, I'll say it again, the clear target for me is Zubimend. I mean, there are many things in this world that I would do for Barcelona to sign Zubimend, but it's again coming down to what our financial situation will be. Now, in terms of Bruno Guimarães, he will be a very expensive signing. Of course, he's Newcastle's best player, most valuable player as well. He did renew his contract about a month ago, and he does have a European release clause of around 80 million euros, if I'm not mistaken. But Roberto does develop a bit more on Guimarães, saying that Barcelona can try and sign Bruno Guimarães from Newcastle in a player swap deal, because Rafinha could be included to return to the Premier League. Now, the question is this: would I directly just swap Rafinha and Bruno Guimarães? For me, the answer is no, because you can sell Rafinha for 60 and get Zubimend. I mean, again, all paths for me lead to Zubimend. Bruno Guimarães for me is a good player. I think he's very much the profile of Frenkie de Jong, in the sense that he is a double pivot, but he's the one that's a bit more progressive. Can he play the pivot? Yes, but that's not his position, and that's why I wouldn't go be all and end all for him. I think he's a good player, but I just don't think that he's what we need right now, where Zubimend is. Now, if we're giving them Rafinha and they're giving us Bruno plus 20 million, something like that, then maybe you might want to flip your head and, consider it. But if it's us, Rafinha, and also on top of us including money as well, it is a big fat hell no for me. I'd rather sell Rafinha for like 50 million to Newcastle and use that money to get Zubimend. That is just my opinion. Now, there have been other names that have been mentioned as well in the pivot position. One of them is a reoccurring name, and that is Gabriel Moscardo. There are reports coming in saying that Deco has confirmed that Barcelona are keeping tabs on Gabriel Moscardo. However, at the club, they consider that his age of just 18 is an obstacle, because there are already many young players in the squad and they're looking for someone with a bit more experience. That makes total sense, and again, you're going to spend that much money, 30 million, on someone who's 18. He's going to come in, there's going to be that risk factor again. Probably will come in and project to expectations, but there is that risk where he doesn't. Changing of atmosphere, different scenery, all the things like that. Again, I think Barcelona are really targeting someone between the age of 23 and 26 for that pivot, and again, like I mentioned again, Zubimend just fits the entire mold. Now, another name that we've been linked with quite a bit, especially since last summer until now, has been Florentino Luis, the midfielder for Benfica. Now, there's no reports on him, but his agent has confirmed Barcelona's interest. We did talk about a few videos ago how he is. I think it was Tony Juan Martin saying that he has a 120 million euro release clause, but this summer he will be available for around 40 million euros. Now, his agent has spoken to the media. He's come out saying that interest from Barcelona, I can't hide it because it was one of the clubs that looked at Florentino Luis in the past summer. There was a lot of talks about him, like other Premier League clubs as well, but Benfica considered him non-transferable. So essentially just confirms Barcelona's interest for Florentino Luis in the past summer. I would rather sign Florentino Luis than, the likes of Bruno Guimarães, because at least he's, a single pivot that actually plays that role. But again, I think there's other 2 or 3 candidates that are ahead of Florentino Luis. I've seen him play only in the Champions League this season, and he hasn't done too well. He's given away a few goals. I think he gave away a goal against Real Sociedad when they lost at the end of 3-1 last week, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think he's exactly what we need. And again, for 40 million, you're 10 million off. I'm going to keep just going down the route of Zubimendi. Now, there is a new name that has come up as well, along with Ederson from Atlanta, and this name is Matt Wieffer, I believe is how you say it. It's coming in from Tony Juan Martin. He's come out saying that Barcelona is closely monitoring Feyenoord's defensive midfielder Matt Wieffer, age 23, who has a contract until 2027. Wieffer, who can play both as a pivot and as an interior player, is liked by Barcelona. He fits all their parameters. He has potential. He is young, but already has some experience. He's not yet reached the ceiling, and his price would not be that high. So again, Tony Juan Martin essentially confirms the Red Toledo report in the sense that Barcelona are looking for a pivot that's not super young, not super old, but someone with a bit of experience that's ready to take that next step. Again, for me, this is a good option as well. I like the Matt Wieffer option over the option of Florentino Luis. I like Matt Wieffer over the option of Gabriel Moscardo as well, for the price, of course. I think that they're both the same. I'd probably go bet on Moscardo. But again, this all comes down to what the budget is and what Barcelona want to prioritize. For me, again, Zubimendi just checks all the boxes. Young, has experience, at a good age, reasonable price, and he fits the mold to absolute perfection. Just now comes down to Barcelona narrowing those targets. So we'll wait and see. A lot of new names coming up over the past few hours, like Matt Wieffer. You have Ederson as well. But now just comes down to Barcelona really holding down on their targets, picking that top 3, and then making the pursuits next year. Now, along with a pivot, the club are also keeping a close eye on the winger market this summer as well, where they have plans to sell Rafinha. There's been reports about Varane being linked with Newcastle as well. I don't know, because we do have a lot of wingers, of course. You have 4 wingers in the lineup right now. You have Joao Felix, who's on loan. You have Ansu Fati, who's currently out on loan as well. But we're still being linked with wingers. One of them being is Nico Williams. Again, there are reports coming in from the Madrid media, AS, saying that Barcelona and Real Madrid are interested in Athletic Bilbao's 21-year-old Spanish winger Nico Williams. Sky's blue, the grass is green. Thanks for that. We already knew that. But Ferran Corazon Sport came out saying the sports management sees Nico Williams far from Barcelona. They are sure that he'll either renew his contract, if not, most likely join a Premier League team. Now, this for me is interesting. I think Nico making the move now to the Premier League is not suicidal, but major risk. And I think that Premier League club would be Aston Villa, the team of Unai Emery, who've been showing some heavy interest from their team lately. I think Barcelona is close to home. You have your Spanish friends as well. You're in the same country. It makes more sense, in my opinion. But he wants to make that move to Aston Villa, then fair enough to him. But I think, again, most likely he will renew his contract with Athletic Club. We're just now waiting for Athletic Club to offer him the damn renewal at this point, because they already told him what they want. They've already agreed to give him what he wants. It's just now down to making that official offer, which of course his agent confirmed a few days ago has been made quite yet. So keep your eyes on Nico Williams' situation. It could develop, especially if we hit the new year and that renewal offer has not come in yet from Athletic Club, but I think most likely he will stay and renew. From one La Liga winger to another, we have some updates on Savinho as well, coming in from Joaquin Pereira from Sport. Keep in mind, he's the #1 source in regards to Brazilian players joining Barcelona. He's come out saying that Barcelona remain very attentive to Girona's winger Savio, who's having a brilliant start to the season with 4 goals and 4 assists. The club thinks he has the Barcelona profile. Again, we talked about in the last video how Ferran Soriano, who is the owner of the City, not owner of City Group, he's the CEO of the City Group, saying that Savio is not going to leave Girona. He'll probably stay there past 2024 as well. He would cost quite a hefty fee to really tempt the City Group as well to sell him. I think they want around 20-30 million euros. Again, we're still early on the season. I want to see if he does this for the entirety of the season. Right now he's on 4 goals, 4 assists. I expect him now to get 10 goals, 10 assists if he's being linked with Barcelona. 12 more goal contributions in all competition for me is at least the bare minimum. Is what I expect from Joao Felix as well this season. So we'll wait and see how he progresses. Again, still a long way to go. We're not even halfway through the season yet. But again, one to definitely keep an eye on. And the final winger, another Brazilian winger, is Estevão Willian, also known as Messinho. There are reports coming in from AES saying that Estevão Willian's desire is to play in Spain. He has the same agent as Vitor Roque, and Deco is key for this type of operation. The Brazilian recently confessed that he is a massive Barcelona fan. Now, Estevão Willian is pulling in some mad performances. If you go on SofaScore, I think his past 5 games, like 3 of them have been 10 out of 10 performances. It's been absolutely, for of course his level, his expectation. I think he's playing for the Brazil under 19, under 16. He's pulling off some mad numbers. Look, we said this before, and I'll say it again. You had Endrick, who went to Real Madrid. You have Vitor Roque, who's coming to Barcelona. Estevão Willian is the next best thing coming out from Brazil. And if we can secure that deal, golden. I'd rather spend 20-30 million on Estevão Willian than 20-30 million on Savinho. I'd rather spend the money on Estevão Willian than sign Nico Williams for free. I'm being completely honest. This man is showing some talent that is something that you cannot let slip from your hand. So we'll wait and see. Again, with the winger position, it's not really a priority for Barcelona, but something that they're definitely keeping an eye on, keeping something out for the summer if they want to move some of their current wingers in the market to get some money in. But again, I think right now the most likely one out of the 3 that have been mentioned is Estevão Willian. Now, your Brazilian that will hopefully be joining Barcelona in the January transfer window is, of course, Vitor Roque. We do have some updates on his potential rival, hopefully in January. Sport have come out saying the registration of Vitor Roque depends on whether or not Barcelona can complete the sale of the Barcelona studio in time. Of course, that economic lever to liberal football finance, the club is very optimistic. I remember talking about this in like September, saying that, look, the club have 4 months. There's no way they should be letting this slip under their hands. We've now had a month and a half. We're at the halfway point now. A month and a half left to go into the January transfer window. The club are worrying me, man. We all know they get stuff done, but they do it so last second, and that's very, very annoying. But at least they get it done. Look, there is no way you cannot get this operation done. If not, retract the deal from Liberal Football Finance and find another investor that will take the 25% of Barca Studio for 40 million euros or whatever the case may be. This is easy, not really easy, but it is a very simple operation for Barcelona to complete. All to bring in a player that is desperately needed in this Barcelona side. So we'll wait and see what happens. Again, we won't, I think, get a definitive answer until probably the final 10 days of December. Maybe after Christmas we'll get a really concrete answer whether or not he'll be joining or not. But again, still some time to go, but the time is slowly but surely passing by. Now, of course, there are 2 key players right now in the Barcelona squad that are not actually owned by Barcelona. They're currently on loan, and that's, of course, Joao Felix and Joao Cancelo. And you do have some updates on their potential permanent transfers this summer. It is coming in from Luis Rojo from Marca, who I would say is a fairly reliable source, but sometimes gets things wrong here and there. He was the first to break their stake in Renewal during the summer, but he's come out saying the signing of both Joaos will be complicated as they will likely cost over 100 million. You're probably thinking, 100 million? What's going on? Let's break it down. Man City will demand 30 million euros for Joao Cancelo. We already knew this. Worth it, easy money. And Atletico Madrid want at least 70 million euros to cover some of the losses for their 127 million euros transfer spending on Felix from Benfica in 2019. Everything indicates that Cancelo is the more likely than Felix, given both a lower fee and a lower salary as well. So Felix is going to cost you 70 and Cancelo will cost you 30. Cancelo for 30, for me, is a no-brainer. If you can really reduce that to 20 initial fee, get some add-ons in there, maybe 25 plus 5, 20 plus 10, golden. You get a world-class fullback for 2 or 3 years. Happy days. Again, for Felix, you have to wait and see. I think that what the club will try and do is, if he keeps his performances going now until the end of the season where he's playing well but not really having that output, I think the club will try and loan him again. But again, I told you guys when we signed Felix, 10 goals, 10 assists minimum for me to even consider signing him. I think he's on, like, don't quote me on this, I think he's on 4 goals, 3 assists, something like that, which again is a good start. I mean, I'm not discrediting him. He has been playing well, just not getting that goal or assist, which I, again, understandably understand that, but it comes down to output for me. It comes down to what he produces on the pitch, how integral he is. He has been playing very, very well recently, but now we have the squad fully fit. We'll wait to see what Xavi does and decides, but I'm going to say this, I'm going to be so repetitive. I'd rather spend 60 million euros on Zubimend than 70 on Joao Felix. If we spend 70 on Felix over 60 on Zubimend, I will grab a gun and shoot myself in the mouth, because it does not get that complicated. That would be one of the worst. That would be on par with renewing Alonso's contract as the worst decision this board has done. Of course, if Felix is available on another loan buy option for 40 million the next summer, 2025, then you know what? You can take the bullet, understandably so. But if you're spending more money on Felix permanently than Zubimend, something's totally off. So we'll wait and see. Again, not going to make a decision now. Of course, Deco has already confirmed this. We're going to wait until the end of the season, evaluate how they've done, the prices, blah, 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 negotiate. I think Cancelo has a great chance of staying. I think the price is very, very fair for him. I think it's even a little bit cheap for the player of Cancelo's quality. But Felix, of course, is where the big question mark comes in. Let's now discuss the players that have been rumored to leave Barcelona over the past 48 hours. The only player is, of course, one of the men who are out on loan, and that is Sergino Dest. This, for me, is fantastic news. There are reports coming in from the Netherlands saying that Sergino Dest is having a great season so far for PSV Eindhoven. PSV's loan deal with Barcelona for Dest has been an absolute success for the club, with PSV expected to buy Sergino Dest at the end of the season. I'm just thinking about a summer with no Dest saga. It is just gonna be brilliant. I think the buy option that PSV have included in the loan deal is 10 million. We'll absolutely take that. That covers at least a third of the Cancelo operation, which we will absolutely take. I think 10 million for Dest is, I think it's fair. Honestly, we spent, I think, what, 23 million, so you take a 13 million euro loss over the course of a few years. Happy days, get rid of his wages as well. This would be a perfect operation for all parties: Barcelona, the board, PSV, and also Dest himself. So hopefully this is the case. Again, like with the Cancelo fee situation, it's still early on in the season, but for now, PSV are on track with Dest to sign him permanently this upcoming summer. Let's now discuss some contract renewal updates around the first team at Barcelona. This has been the biggest news over the past 24 hours, and Barcelona's plans for the renewals for the upcoming year of 2024 have been leaked. This is all coming in from Luis Rojo from Marca, who again is a credible source. He's come out with this: Barcelona has started contacts to renew the players whose contract end in 2026. Gavi, Pedri, Frenkie de Jong, and Ronald Araujo. Contacts with their agents are underway. With regards to the contract renewals, the financial fair play comes into play. The problem the club has with the salary mass means that the new contracts can be signed when there is more room. Renewing the contracts of Gavi, Pedri, Araujo, and de Jong will become effective in the 24-25 season. The idea is to offer them all long-term deals. Makes sense. Of course, this is the problem when we renewed them all till 2026. I knew this was going to happen. We're going to have to all renew all their contracts at the same time. Of course, we had the Pedri saga, we had the Araujo saga, then the Gavi saga. It's probably going to be going in the same order as well. And I also want to advise the club caution in who they pick first to renew their deals, because that will affect the other players. If I'm Gavi and the club are in talks with Pedri first, that will have an effect on the players for sure, even though they're all going to be renewed and the Barcelona want to keep them all. So I would say that. Now, in regards to Araujo, Gavi, and Pedri, I would still say it's a tad bit early, but I think right now to get the process done and get it started, absolutely fantastic decision. But there is one player who is in desperate need of a renewal, and that is, of course, Frenkie de Jong. Now, Luis Rojo from Marca has come out saying that Frenkie de Jong already knows that the club wants to extend his contract, but it's not going to be easy. He has not forgotten what happened in the previous summer when the club wanted to sell him. This persona that Barcelona wanted to push Frenkie out, I still don't understand how it affected him that much. Like, we never pushed him out. I think we were just dilly-dallying, trying to get his wages reduced. I don't think we ever put him on the market. I don't think we ever really talked to United. I think we kind of played them a bit to waste their time. Yeah, we got some offers from them that were all rejected. Anyways, but Deco has made it clear to him that the situation has changed, that he's not there when it all happens. He wants to get that relationship all sorted out. Now, Fabrizio Romano came out saying that Barcelona will start talks about extending Frenkie de Jong's contract in 2024. The club wants to keep de Jong as they see him as a crucial player for the team. If we do not renew Frenkie de Jong's contract by the end of this season, I will genuinely be worried. Of course, Deco said in his interview the other day with Raccoon, we're not going to do any renewals this year in 2023. We're going to start it all again in 2024. Fair enough. If de Jong is not in advanced negotiations to renew his deal, or at least renewed his deal by the end of this season, I will be worried, because if you go into that last summer, this upcoming summer, he's going to be in the final year in his deal. You cannot risk that in any capacity whatsoever. So hopefully the club do get this deal over the line. There are two other players as well that contract expire not this summer, but the next summer, and that's the two players we signed for free this summer, in Inigo, Martinez, and Ilkay. Gundogan, Luis Rojo from Marca came out saying that Gundogan and Inigo Martinez are two players whose contract end in 2025. We have to see if Barcelona will renew their contracts or not. The performances will determine that, and so far they're both on a good level. I think with Gundogan, he definitely has a future beyond 2025 at Barcelona if he continues performing. With Inigo, I'm not quite too sure. You, of course, have Christensen, you have Koundé, you have Araujo, you have Eric Garcia coming back from loan from Girona, you have Kubrasi in Barca Athletic, you have Mikel Fey in Barca Athletic as well. So I think the center back position is very much well covered, to the point that if Inigo wants a pay rise or whatever the case may be, then you might want to let him go. Again, I think it's completely fair to renew Inigo if he does perform well. Whether he gets a pay increase, that's where the question comes in. Same salary, I wouldn't see why not. So we'll wait and see. I think it's really too early for these two. I think this will be a topic from a year today. November 17th, 2024 is when you can talk about where they're at, Inigo and Ilkay, whether or not we want to renew them or not, but something to keep in mind for sure. But there are two players' contracts that expire this summer, of course, and it is Sergi Roberto and Marcos Alonso. And Luis Rojo from Marca came out saying that unless something unexpected happens, both Sergi Roberto and Marcos Alonso will be out of Barcelona next season, and that's of course the 100% correct decision. I think the club might, I'd put it at like 5% renew Roberto, just because, you know, veteran, captain, knows the club and country and language. Alonso, there's no chance. I would even sell Alonso in January. Atletico, 2-3 million, he's all yours. That's how I see it. But with Roberto, I think there's a slimmer of a chance, but hopefully that's not gonna be the case. I think it's definitely time to move on from Roberto. I mean, I think he should have gone last season with Jordi Alba and Busquets, but he kind of wanted his own time, wanted to be the captain. I mean, fair enough, but these two players shouldn't be getting their contract renewed in any capacity whatsoever. So wait and see on the renewals. Again, the plan is quite set. The club want to prioritize right now De Jong, Araujo, Gavi, and Pedri. They'll then follow up with Ilkay and Inigo once they get closer to 2025. And of course, coming to Alonso and Roberto, their futures will be out of Barcelona this summer. They will be free agents. So again, the renewal plan is strong. It's just now down to executing it to perfection. Let's now discuss some of the news surrounding Barcelona over the past 48 hours. Firstly, in regards to the upcoming 2024 Paris Olympic, where Barcelona is very worried about it. Mundo Deportivo reporting that next summer will be the Euro and the Olympic, and this is a worry for Barcelona. Gavi, Balde, and Lamine Yamal could play up to around 80 matches for club and country this season. Pedri played 73 games in the 2020-21 season and subsequently had muscle injuries. So we could see all three of these players suffer what happened to Pedri in the first season under Koeman, where he played every single game for Barcelona, played every single game for Spain in the Euros, and then it played every single game for Spain in the Olympics, and he ended up getting only a silver medal out of it. In regards to Lamine Yamal, I'm not too worried about him. I think it's actually good for him to go out there and play with the team, get experience. I think if he goes on the plane to the Euros for Spain, I don't think he'll be a starter, although he did score a bloody fantastic goal yesterday for Spain. I don't think he'll be a starter. I think for the Olympic team, he could be. With Balde, I think the worry for me comes in with Balde and Gavi. They're two crucial players for Barcelona, two first-team starting players. For me, mainly Gavi, because Gavi already plays a lot for Barcelona. Imagine he's going to be a starter for the Euros as well. Apparently, there were reports saying that Pedri and Rodri are the two 100% standstill starters for Spain's midfield. There's now down to the other one. Will it be Mikel Merino? Will it be Gavi? I think it will end up being Gavi. So I am worried about Gavi. I'm also worried about Balde as well. But Balde does have some competition, of course, in Spain. In the left back, you have Grimaldo, you have Gaia. So there's definitely somewhere. He's not, I wouldn't say a guaranteed starter for Spain. But this is a big problem for Barcelona. You could see players going out playing way more games than they should have. Then if they go play the Euro and the Olympics, they're going to come back late. They will join the start of the season late. They might have some injuries as well. The club have to be very cautious. I think it comes down to once we hit, May time, whether or not to give these players rests or not, especially when that they could be playing for the Olympic and Euro team. I think the club could persuade decisions in regards to Balde and Gavi going to the Olympics, but again, it's a gold medal. I don't blame them. I don't blame the player for going whatsoever. It's just now down to their game time and how they're gonna manage the load. Again, with Lamine Yamal, not too worried. It's not really he can in and out of Barcelona's side. I think once we hit January, February, he might play a bit more with rotation being considered. But again, this is a big problem for Barcelona. It's something that you have to really keep an eye out on for sure. And the positive side, with Balde, the club might have to be forced to get a decent left back. We might even get a Grimaldo or a Gaia, maybe something like that. They might just bet on Alex Valle, which is completely fair enough. So we'll wait and see in regards to this, but definitely something to keep your eyes on, where you could see the likes of Lamine Yamal, Balde, and Gavi playing around 80 games this entire season, with them playing for Barcelona, of course in the Euros for Spain, and then for Spain in the Olympics. Now, the final topic that I want to discuss before I end off this video is give you guys some updates around the Espai Barca project. The president was at the construction zone yesterday, taking a look at everything, getting everything sorted. There have been some reports coming out as well about the construction. Mundo Deportivo are saying that until now, around 450 workers were part of the construction site at the Spotify Camp Nou daily. Starting from now, it will increase to 1,000 500 workers, 70% of them being locals, while others are currently be coming from Bulgaria, Romania, and Turkey. The new Spotify Camp Nou project has investors also from the US, workers from Turkey, cranes from Kuwait, architects from Japan, direction operations from Spain, and design from Spain as well. So the Espai Barca project, you could say, is very diverse, but the work now is starting to increase. I think Laporta also came out saying that we're on track to play the Camp Nou a year today, which of course is the plan for the 125th anniversary of the club next year, and everything's on track. We will have a 70% capacity next year at the Camp Nou. It should be absolutely beautiful. Again, I don't think the roof and everything will be complete. There will be cranes and construction around the stadium as we go in there and play games, but again, everything is on course, on plan. Ligma, the construction company, is doing an absolutely fantastic job. They may even receive a bonus from Barcelona for completing everything on time. Laporta is very happy with them. Again, another correct decision made by Laporta. Now, when he was doing the media for the Espai Barca project and the Spotify Camp Nou construction, he was asked, of course, on the situation at Barcelona in regards to the team, and also in regards to Xavi's situation potentially being sacked. And Laporta said this, of course, the words of the president: "I see it well. We're in the mix. That's very important. We are well placed in the Champions League and La Liga. I want to make it very clear, as Deco and the directors of the board have done in the media recently, we are totally behind our coach's side, and we are so proud to have Xavi as our coach because of his professionalism and human qualities. We are in close-knit group here. We close ranks. At this moment, it is very difficult to be together. Now we have a period in which the injured can recover, and Xavi has all the players available. We're in the mix, and the important thing is how we finish. We are working here to be strong in the final rush." And I think Laporta has done this to perfection. He's basically said, look, we're still challenging for La Liga, we're still in good shape for the Champions League, we fully back Xavi, and we will judge it how we finish. So in the end of the season, if Xavi has no trophies, you can say he might get sad, blah, 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 blah. But if he wins La Liga, wins the Copa, Super Cup, Champions League, whatever the case may be, then of course he may likely continue. Correct decision. Again, there's no clear candidate out there. Again, Xavi has not been doing so poorly. It's been more so the injuries, also the team's effectiveness on the pitch. He's still getting results. I mean, we've only lost 2 games this season against Shakhtar and Madrid. Again, the performances, of course, have been absolutely atrocious, but that I think comes down to mainly the players that I talked about in previous videos. So Laporta doing absolutely well, supporting Xavi, of course, the correct decision, and also very happy with the development of the Espai Barca project. So that was my reaction to the Barcelona news over the past 48 hours. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and of course, leave me your thoughts down below in the comments on everything we discussed. The main thing I want to see, of course, is your thoughts on the pivot targets that Barcelona have compiled so far. Who would be your priority? Who would you go for? Who you're not really keen on? Secondly, your thoughts on the fees being leaked right now for Cancelo and Felix. What are your thoughts? Who would you sign? Both, one of them, or neither of them? Third, your thoughts on the renewals of the key players in Barcelona's team: Pedri, Gavi, Araujo, and De Jong. Who would you prioritize? And there would be no problems in renewing all 4 of their contracts. And finally, your thoughts on the wingers being linked with Barcelona. Who would you prioritize? Who you like the most? Who you like the least? And what are your thoughts on Vitor Roque joining Barcelona in January? And of course, make sure you guys subscribe down below if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next time on the channel. Take care, and Forza Barca.